We are in the Superstition Mountains. We are parked on First Water Road here, my normal spot. We are going to be doing a massive loop. I have never actually done this full thing. I've done all parts of it. I'm gonna go up across the Crosscut, up Flatiron. We'll hit peak 5024. We'll go along the ridgeline. We'll hit peak 5057, Superstition Peak. We will hit the Three Sisters. We will go past the Kearney Springs where it comes up, go around to Robert's Roost, drop down to the Fremont Saddle, walk by Weaver's Needle, not summit it, summit Black Top Mesa, woo, summit Battleship, and then come back out Second Water. And yeah, it's gonna be a long day. Woo! So yeah, it's gonna be a good hike. I've done like all parts of this as separate pieces or multiple pieces, so I have more extensive videos if you're interested in some of this stuff, so check them out. But this is just gonna be a compilation of everything. This is gonna be a hard day hike, probably one of my top 10 hardest day hikes ever, I would venture. Hey, morning. So this is the main Siphon Draw Trail, so honestly I'll probably just hike this all the way up. No need to run. I'll probably hike like a good 2/3 of this today. I'll get moving on the descent from the Fremont Saddle for sure. But other than that, and then maybe some on the way back from Battleship. So this is crowded. We've passed like 20 to 25 people already in this first, mile on the Siphon Draw Trail. But look at all the people in the Slick Rock Bowl. I mean, there's 10, 11 people, a couple more at the top. So man, there's gonna be, and I'm sure some people camped or summited for sunrise, so it's not like I'll be the first summit of the day, but whew, just the first summit of many today. It's gonna be fun. So check in higher up. Hit the final section here. This class I haven't done this in a while. I haven't done anything steep in like 3 months. So I'm struggling. Whew. Now we just gotta walk across the Flatiron. Well, on the first, there was one guy coming down, so he might have come up for sunrise. But otherwise, I think on the second day hiker on top of Flatiron here, the shadow of the Superstitions, 4 peaks. Next objective, peak 5024. After that peak out there, Superstition Peak 5057, which is over 4 miles away from here, and a lot of up and down on the ridgeline. So I'm not moving fast at all. It's been an hour 15 since I left the car, so actually that's not bad. I thought it was gonna be like an hour and a half. So that's from Jacob's Crosscut, so you're adding, I don't know, half to maybe 3/4 of a mile Granted, it's flat. If I was moving just Flatiron on its own, like from the state park, I would do it in like an hour or a little under an hour. So anyway, got it to myself in the sun, but we'll be back in the shade in a couple steps here, and I'll show you when we get to the next peak. All right, peak 5024, Flatiron down below. I totally went up a different way than I had before. I always go up and down a different way. It's not the easiest thing. There's our next big peak way out there. It's higher than this one. And there is a lot of up and down fun on the ridgeline. I almost just want to lay out here and take a nap. Awesome views from up here. So we're gonna head down, and then once we get back down to the saddle, we got about 4 miles on the ridge to that peak, then 2 more miles to the Kearney Springs saddle, then another mile or 2 wrapping around by Robert's Roost, then down to the Fremont Saddle, and etc, etc. So long way to go, long day ahead of me. One piece of advice for those of you doing this, because I just saw a comment on a board that someone got lost and couldn't summit this. When you go through this little boulder cave, turn left, and then it's a pretty easy trail up. I turned right when I just came out of here, and that's why I didn't recognize it, but it's a pretty easy trail. If you come up out of this cave and then turn left, you'll be able to follow a use trail all the way to the top. But it's sort of confusing getting up to this boulder cave to begin with. You lose the trail and stuff, but anyway, that's one piece of advice I'll give you. Still a long way to go to our next peak. And a lot of up and down and rockiness. We banged out the first mile or mile plus from the saddle, which is easy. But we're gonna drop here flat, and then it's gonna be all ups and downs. So the fun has yet to begin. All right, we've hit this is gonna be our last sustained climb up to the peak. Probably like 500-600 feet, broken up into segments. There's 3 ultra runners in front of me. Anyway, decent amount of up now and hiking. Main climbing move. I passed the ultra runners, but they're hot on my tail. This is hard work. Almost to the summit. Final push. Yeah. Hey. Superstition Peak 5057. Whew. Headed that way now. So my the ultra runners that I passed did not come up here, surprisingly. But there was one guy up there. So just for reference, I started at 6:45 a.m., maybe 6:46. I was on top of Flatiron at 8 o'clock even. I was on top of Peak 5024 at 8:15. And I hit that at 10 o'clock. It's like 10:04 now. I had a snack and some electrolytes. So, not awful time, but I'm probably gonna slow down a lot. So 3:15 or so to that summit, which included hitting Flatiron and whatever 5024. So those two together probably were at least 30 minutes of extra time. So, you know, you're looking at 2:45 maybe to this peak from First Water Road would be sort of my normal pace, which sounds about right because I think I was like 5.5 or something before, 5:15 maybe, but it's a little faster on the way back typically. So that checks out, I guess, but I don't feel like I'm moving too fast. I've gotten out of shape in the last month, so gotta get back at it. Anyway, got a couple more miles of ridgeline, which I haven't done in a really long time, to Kearney Springs, the Saddle, and then I gotta go off trail by Robbers Roost to get back, so should be fun. Well, there's a little spur out to that point right after you come down from the summit, so I, without even realizing it, I went that way. So I summited a little other point, added a 0.04 miles, and it looks like we're dropping down here now because there's a cairn right here. So we'll drop down. I see the trail over there, the Three Sisters. I'm not sure where they are. They might be out there. I got to summit the Three Sisters too, which I've actually never done before. So a lot of people out today, which I expected, and I'm sure I'll see a ton more once I get over to Fremont Saddle area. So hopefully these next 2 miles are fairly smooth, even though there is up and down. But then that mile around Robbers Roost off trail could be a little slow, I feel like. So see down at that saddle, there's a split. The one split goes up the hill, and it's 4/10 of a mile each way. So I'm adding 8/10 of a mile with, you know, several hundred feet of elevation gain. So I don't even think I counted that in my rough mileage approximation. So that'll add some time. There's another 15 minutes. So we have a long way to go. Long way to go. Well, I misspoke in the last video. There were 2 junctions. That first junction was the main trail. There was another junction later where you split right. But I'm on top of sister number 3. It's a pretty big drop down there. Sister 2 looks, I think, is slightly higher. But this is very base. For some reason, I thought there was some scrambling involved in this, but there definitely is not at all. There's our boy Weaver's Needle. Man, this loop would be epic if I free soloed up and down Weaver's Needle on top of all the other summits I'm doing, but one day I'm gonna do this loop with Weaver's Needle in there, and maybe I'll stash a rope out there to just rappel and leave it, and then I'll come back and get it. So yeah, we just burned 15 minutes just walking on this basic flat plateau to get sort of that view. So that was the third sister, but we walked, I did walk, I didn't show you, but I walked on the first one. I don't even know where the first one is. You sort of walk right over it. It's just flat. The second one is actually like sort of a prominent, where you see that big cairn up there. And it's not very far off of this. I mean, it adds like a minute, so. But yeah, the first one you walk right over. But I would not say you want to do this as just your sole hike, you know, bag 50-57. I mean, it looks like we've come down a lot and pretty far from 50-57, although we were just on top of it like 20 minutes ago or something. Maybe 25. But anyway, I will check in as I wrap around and then drop down to Fremont Saddle. So shout out to the group of, I forget how many, 6 or 8 people there. One of the ladies jokingly asked if she would get to be on the video, and I said, do you want to be? And I was going to click record, and she said no, but I figured I'd click record after I went by them, even though you barely saw them. But yeah, hopefully you guys watch this. Hope you have a good hike. Hopefully I survive this monster loop. I feel like by the end of it I'm going to be pretty worn out, but that's okay. That's what it's all about. So I think we're starting to get close to the Kearney Saddle. I don't know if it's called the Kearney Saddle, but oh boy, we got some flowing water. So I just ran into, I'm still not sure, I think it was Brandy, my apologies if I still have it wrong, Brandy. So I just ran into a guy on the trail from Alberta, and I was like, hey, how's it going? And he was like, I recognize your voice. And he's watched my videos, so that was pretty awesome. And then right after it, I ran into another couple who I saw up on Superstition Peak, and they said they had seen my comments on all trails. So I have completely lost the trail again, so I need to get back, but I thought that was pretty cool. Nice meeting you.
Nice meeting
Just
you.
met some people. He's watched some of my videos. So. I don't know. Yeah. Cool. Have a good one, guys. All right, so you don't want to descend from the Kearney Saddle at all. There is a trail over here. And so far, the first quarter mile, it's easy to follow, and there's some cairns. So I'm gonna just follow the trail if there is one. But we're getting up somewhere, I don't even know where. And on the other side of all this high stuff will be where we drop down to the trail that'll take us down to the Fremont Saddle. So definitely slower going the last mile or so. That last mile before you hit the Kearney Saddle is not the easiest thing in the world to follow sometimes. I definitely went the wrong way for a minute or so a couple times, so had to backtrack and look at the map. But now we seem to be on point. I'm gonna try to wait till I get down to the canyon by Weaver's Needle to get water, because I still got some left. So this is an awesome trail. It's cairned so far the whole way. Those might disappear at some point, but for now, the fact that I don't really have to think and look at the map and I can just follow it, it's fantastic. So pretty soon I could cut over these cliffs and drop down the other side and take a shortcut. I don't know, it might save me like half a mile, maybe a little more. I just don't know. I see a cairn in the distance. I don't know if you guys see it up there on the flat rock. So that's what I'm aiming for. All right, that was super easy, and I just ran into 2 other people. They didn't say they recognized my voice, but yeah, so someone else is going up this way. There's some cairns. Like, this is awesome. This is a nice shortcut for sure. Like I said, it might save me half a mile, which I'll take, but it's also slower pace because I'm going up and down enough, but I don't even know if this is the right way. But I'm just gonna bomb straight down, I think, to try to hit the trail on the other side. I've lost any semblance of cairns, so I'm probably doing this incorrectly, but this does look like a use path, so I'm here for it. That shortcut was money. We're like almost gonna be down to the Fremont Saddle. We're on the trail. That was so easy to connect over the top. So I'm glad I did it. But I didn't go to Robbers Roost officially, although the first time I didn't really go there either because I wasn't sure I could climb back up. So yeah, that's not a summit, so it doesn't count. But I assume I'll see a lot of people at the Fremont Saddle here. I'll check in, I'll give you the time. This was a slow last leg from Superstition Peak 5057 to the Fremont Saddle. Took a lot longer than I thought it was going to. right, so we've hit the Fremont Saddle. There's Weaver's Needle, so we're probably 12-ish, and maybe with my spurs like 13 miles in. We're 5 hours exactly. It's 11:46 a.m. So I think this was probably about when I expected I would get here, but honestly, hey, not really sure. So luckily we have a lot of cruiser miles now. Well, I say a lot, probably 3, or I should be able to move pretty quickly now. You know, we're talking under 15-minute miles for sure. So that'll be good. And that'll get me close to halfway. But I have done at least probably more than half the elevation gain, I think, so that's good. I've probably put in, I don't know, close to 5,000, 4,500, maybe not. Maybe I'm not quite at half, but I mean, I got 1,000 for Black Top Mesa, 1,000 for Battleship, 500 or so coming back from Battleship, maybe a couple hundred on the road. And then I probably still have some miscellaneous climbing. So yeah, we might have put in 5,000 already. Well, we've cruised by Weaver's Needle, and it's warm out. I need to refill water soon for sure and chug a bunch, because I've probably only drank 1.5 liters, if that. So I need to chug like 1 liter when I stop and fill like all 2.5 or whatever I have, because I'm gonna need it. So it's warm. We are plowing towards Black Top Mesa, which is that thing with all the black on top of the yellow there. But we still have several miles to go, and then a mile and 1,000 feet to climb up. So it'll be a good, say, hour before we're on top of Black Top Mesa, at least, I would say. Well, I'm 6 hours in. I'm about to start my ascent up Black Top Mesa, and I've hit the creek, and I'm gonna spend 10 minutes refilling and drinking a bunch of water. It is getting hot out here, for sure. So, as you can see, I'm filtering with the Catadine Be Free. Probably don't even need to filter this, but might as well. So this will take a little bit. Well, the water breaks over. It's a lot of work refilling water. So we are headed up to what's called Bull Pass, and then we'll head up to Black Top Mesa. I think that's right, unless that's Black Top Mesa up there and Bull Pass over there. But yeah, it's hot. That was like a 15-minute stop. We got 1,000 feet to climb here to the top of Black Top. So we probably have, I would venture to say, less than 3,000 feet, maybe almost 3,000 feet left of total climbing. But we probably still have 15 miles or something. So quite a bit, but this mile will knock off 1,000 feet, or this 1.5 miles will knock out 1,000 feet. All right, 137, summit of Black Top Mesa. So we're under 7 hours for the day. Probably be 1.5 hours at least before I'm on the summit of Battleship. I got a separate video on Black Top Mesa, but it's cool to look at the ridgeline and see everywhere I was. There's good old Weaver's Needle, and there's some other people up here too. So I'm gonna eat my Bobo's bar now, probably chug. I put 2 electrolyte tablets in my water bottle. I'm gonna chug that whole thing. I'll refill it when I get back down before I summit Battleship. So one more summit left though, but it'll be a hard one. We're on the Boulder Canyon Trail. Coming, well, Black Top Mesa is over there. Probably got a couple miles until we hit the climb up the Battleship. So I got 2 roads, you know, pretty flat miles. Then I gotta climb up Battleship, and then once I'm on top of Battleship, I will have about 10 miles left to the car. 5.5. Oh no, sorry, that's wrong. Once I'm on top of Battleship, I will have 8 miles left to the car. So I have about 11 left now. Say 2 to Battleship, 1 up to the summit, 5.5 back to the trailhead, first water trailhead, then 2.5 on the road back to my car. So yeah, luckily these crossings are all doable. Well, there's the Battleship formation up ahead. The summit's way beyond, but we got 1 more creek crossing, I think, and then we will have our steep push up the hillside, and then we'll have a good amount to get up to the summit. So almost there. I got a foot wet on one of the creek crossings. The rock moved, my ankle rolled off of it, but I'll be okay. Well, I've started my ascent from Boulder Creek up to the Battleship Ridge. I am moving in slow-mo Kevin mode, but that's okay because we're gonna do it. It's just after 3 o'clock, so normally I'd be on the summit at like 3:30, but we're gonna say like 3:45 we'll be on the summit, and then we'll be back down here by say 4:15, maybe a little later. Yeah, we'll be back at the trailhead by 5:45, 5:30. But then I got 2.5 miles on the road, so it will actually be getting close to darkness unless I jog. I haven't been jogging, even though that was all easy terrain there. Like I said, moving slow, but that's fine. We've gained the ridge. There's Weaver's Needle. There's Superstition Peak, I believe. 50-57. Yeah, that was the slowest I think I've ever ascended that. But it's all good. Once you get on rock, it gets more interesting, and then before you know it, you'll be on the summit. So I just got to get to the rock. Well, we've mounted the Battleship. Now we get a flat 1/4 mile before we get to play in all those yellow rocks. And your summit's that farthest one you see up ahead. So probably got 20 minutes till I'm on the summit. At least there's a little breeze down here, or up here. Uh-oh, we're coming up to the narrow section. Watch out. This isn't that narrow, but people seem to freak out about. So, oh yeah, you go up the black. I don't know what I'm talking. This is the crux. Might as well show you the crux, even though it's in multiple of my videos. Probably need to switch batteries soon. This is one of the crux moves. It's just like, oh, there's a sling here. There's no way anyone actually rappels down this. I mean, it's like a class 4 like ledge system. I wouldn't say it's class 5. And there's like, look, I'm on this like monster step. So, I mean, I guess do what you need to do to be safe, but if you're rappelling down that, probably shouldn't be doing that. So, just headed up now, almost there. Yeah, we've made it. Summit of Battleship. Last summit of the day. Whew. Crazy to to think about. I went up from over here, went up Flatiron, I can't see, I think Superstition Peak there, Three Sisters, went over Saddle, dropped down by Weaver's Needle. Black Top Mesa is very hard to pick out with the depth. Summited Black Top Mesa, walked down here, came up here. We gotta go back down there, walk along Boulder Canyon for a mile, shoot up this second water canyon, eventually back to the road, back to the car. So what a day so far. Let's check the time. 3:38. I made it up in like 37 minutes. So Canyon Lake, sorry about that. Canyon Lake's out in the distance. While I'm up here, I might as well go to the South Summit because I never do. So I'm gonna do that and I'll show you that view so you can see the Battleship formation better. Battleship South. I think it's lower, but I'm not totally sure. So here's your quintessential picture, seeing the Battleship formation. Maybe this will be my picture for the thumbnail and I'll get the ridgeline. Maybe I'll draw some cool stuff on it. I don't know. But Superstition domination, although I still got 8 miles to the car. So only 75% of the way done our mileage here. But yeah, I got 3 hours left of daylight, so I should have plenty of time. We are back down to the Boulder Canyon Trail, and that means at the next water crossing, I am going to fill up with like 3 liters of water and probably drink at least a liter. So that'll be another good 15-minute stop. It is 4:19, so I got 4.5, maybe a little less, to the trailhead, and then 2.5 on the road. So we're looking at 7 miles tops with a 15-minute water filter stop coming up. So yeah, it'll probably be like 6:15, 6:30, so it'll still be light when I get back to the car, but not by a lot. So I timed this pretty well. Although I said about 10 hours, so it's gonna end up taking probably over 11. But all 5 of the stats in the beginning, I need to do some math and figure out how far I went today. I'm actually getting a little jog going because this terrain is so nice and it's in the shade, so it feels so much better. We got another 1/4 mile or 1/3 of a mile in Boulder Canyon, and then we'll that canyon you see up there in the sun, that is Second Water Canyon. That's our ticket out of here. So still like 6 miles to the car, a little over 6. Yeah, but aside from one like maybe 400 or 500 foot climb, which isn't too bad, pretty flat. Another crossing. We've reached our nice flat cruiser stretch. Probably got 3 miles to the trailhead, 5.5 to the car, something like that. If I had to guess, actually, no, we're better than that. We're gotta be less than 3, maybe 2.5 to the trailhead, 5 to the car. It's nice out here. Well, I'm hitting the trailhead. It's been like exactly 11 hours since I left my car, which means it's gonna be like 11.5 or 11:40 for the full loop. So I'm at probably 30, maybe 31 miles now. I wish my car were here. Oh well. I wanted to shout out my boy Tomes. Tomes, I got the Superstitions back for you, buddy. I showed them who's boss. So I was also thinking about where this ranks in terms of my toughest day hikes. I think this is tougher than like a rim to rim to rim, even though it's like 10 miles shorter or more if you do a longer rim to rim to rim. That's like such easy trail. You don't have to filter your own water. It's just easier to move fast. This is so rocky and rugged. So I would put it behind the Timberline Trail around Mount Hood, which is comparable length. Oh no, sorry, it's 41 miles. So a lot longer with more elevation gain, and you gotta filter the water and a lot of up and down. I would put it behind Rainbow Bridge from the South Trail. And actually I parked down at the road, so it was more miles. It was like 28 or 30 miles. It was just really hot. It was a tough hike for me, let's put it that way. You know, it's sort of apples to oranges when you're doing like ridge traversing in Colorado or something, or you're doing a lot of climbing, scrambling. So it's hard to compare it with like, I don't know, Diente Wilson Traverse and Wilson Peak. That was a hard day hike. Snowmass was a hard day hike. That was just because of the snow. So, I mean, I'd put it up there. I'd say it's harder than doing Mount Whitney, standard way for sure. So yeah, it's probably in the top 5. Well, everyone's parked here with their wedding dresses to take their sunset photos of the Superstitions. And I just hiked 33 miles, give or take, maybe 32. I'll let you know. But as you can see, it still lights. I made it. So that was good.